Adams Archive.
So California is going to give unemployment benefits, this is what they're trying to do legally, to illegal immigrants as border crisis grows. Imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine if you assaulted someone, right? You broke a law, you robbed somebody, you assaulted them, you did some egregious act that made you a felon. And now the government wants to pay you for it. They literally are going to give money, unemployment benefits. You know why you're unemployed is because you're not here legally. You cannot get a green card. You cannot pass go. You cannot collect $200 because you don't pay taxes. And the only reason you're here in the first place is that you started your career as an American, if we can call you that, by committing an illegal act, by migrating here illegally. So let's go ahead and read this. Again, coming from the Post-Millennial, which says, Democrat politicians in California have been considering a proposal that will grant illegal aliens residing in the state the ability to receive unemployment benefits as Title 42 expired last week. Senator Durazo, who sponsored the bill, lamented that illegal aliens continue to shut out from California's economic success despite their work in industries such as agriculture, clothing, and construction, according to Fox News. So let's see what Joe Biden has to say about this.
Last one, okay?
Title 42. Is the United States ready for the surge of people that's going to come across the border starting later this week?
I spent I think close to an hour with the Mexican president today. We're doing all we can. The answer is it remains to be seen. We've gotten overwhelming cooperation from Mexico. We also are in the process of setting up offices in Colombia and other places where someone seeking asylum can go first. So, but it remains to be seen. It's going to be chaotic for a while. And as an example, as I raised in the meeting, when they said, well, we're going to cut and no spending more money. So what the hell happens? If you cut, you're going to cut people at the border? You're going to cut agents at the border? We need more at the border, not less at the border. Last one.
Quote, unquote, Joe Biden says, what was the quote? What did he say?
And as an example, as I raised in the meeting, when they said, well, we're going to cut and no spending more money. As I raised in the meeting, when they said or someone seeking asylum can go first. So, but it remains to be seen. It's going to be chaotic for a while.
The president of the United States just said it's going to be chaotic for a while at our border. Well, you know why? Because you've gone 3 years now without doing anything about it. In fact, encouraging people to travel here illegally. Encouraging it. It's so crazy. If you go and watch any of these videos, like how many people are lined up with children in their hands, but also most of the time, just like military aged men. And that's a kind of like an insightful way to put it, right? Like, oh, you see the articles and military aged men, because it gives the idea that these men are here to do harm. Well, how many of the last, shootings that we've seen, how many times have we seen that it was an illegal immigrant? There's been like several shootings over the last several months that have come from somebody who is here illegally. Right? So who knows? I'm not trying to instill the idea that all of these guys are criminal militants, but you don't know. And that's the problem, right? When you go through it, the process legally, you know who this person is, where they came from, what their ties are, if they're a part of radical political organizations, or I don't know, the cartel who's funding and operating all of these runs across the border. Probably a good thing to know. This goes on to say that weekly handouts and other governmental costs. So I skipped a step. So SB 227, also known as the Safety Net for All Workers Act, will use state funds to give illegal aliens who claim to have no work $300 a week, lasting up to 20 weeks. So you heard it here first, folks. Well, not first because somebody else wrote this, but your tax dollars could go to paying $6,000 per illegal immigrant. Your tax dollars will now go to pay for somebody to commit a felonious act. I don't know if illegal immigration is felonious, but it sounds like a funny word, and I will use it here. Weekly handouts and other governmental costs related to the legislation that are expected to run the state to $356 million total. Meanwhile, California is being stretched on its own funds, and with the state budget deficit now at tens of billions of dollars. Addressing the lack of funds on Friday, California Governor and Chief Devil frickin' Gavin Newsom just seems to me like he's just absolutely a demon. You look at that man, and he looks like every, the TV show Supernatural, like every supernatural demon whose eyes turn black. That's Gavin Newsom. Described it as a $31.5 billion challenge. That's what their lack of funds is being referenced to. This number is apparently far higher than expected, as Newsom predicted in a budget proposal he put forth in January that the deficit would be around $10 billion less. Don't really care about the budget. And then it's starting to show some of the border situation. And anyways, meanwhile, about 15,000 migrants were reportedly seen by the California side of the U.S.-Mexico border in Tijuana last week, occupying shelters, hotels, and even outdoor encampments in anticipation of Title 42's expiration.